Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I'm your president, Wilda Ream, and as you know, we start off our meetings by reciting the four-way test. Please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? So Rotarians use the Rotary four-way test to guide our actions and words. The Rotary Club of York is committed to celebrating the diversity and uniqueness of all people, treating everyone with courtesy, dignity, and respect, and we expect the same from everyone we encounter. Embracing diversity and promoting equity is essential for the betterment of our club, our community, and the world. Today, our opening song, America, My Country, 'Tis of Thee, and the pledge will be led by Leanne Wilson, followed by the invocation by past President Glenn Miller and visitor introductions by Jake Miller.
Rotarians and guests, please join me. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, but spread his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. Please prepare yourself for prayer in the manner of your own tradition. Hear these words from the Hebrew Scriptures, from the prophet Micah. He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? God of wisdom, justice, and mercy, we lift before you this day all those who serve in the judiciary of our land, judges, magistrates, clerks, and all who work to uphold the law, and most especially our speaker, entrusted with leadership in our own community. Grant him and his colleagues wisdom that surpasses human reasoning, that they may discern truth from falsehood and render decisions that honor righteousness. Grant them courage to stand firm in the face of pressure, influence, or fear, choosing integrity. Grant them compassion to see the humanity in each person who stands before them, remembering that you call us all to justice coupled with mercy. And let judgment be guided by the principles of equity, dignity, and respect for all peoples. In the face this day of new and troubling warfare in the Middle East, we pray also for an end to violence everywhere. Comfort the dying, sustain the wounded, bring peace to those in fear, and let your justice roll down like streams of living water. Bless us in this club and this community, these friends gathered in fellowship and in service. We ask all these things in the name of the one God, of many names we pray. Amen.
I am pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Wilda has welcomed you. Guest of Elliot Weinstein, Gary Graham. Guests of Victoria Connor, Justin Tomevi, Cheryl Kaufman, Janelle Black, Magenta Bard. And guests of Jane Schussler, Craig Charters, and Susan Crawford Charters.
guests, we're so glad to have you here with us today. Whether this is your first visit or you're back again, it's always a pleasure to have new faces in the room. If what you see here today resonates with you, we'd love to have you consider becoming part of our Rotary family. Rotarians, please help me welcome our visitors. You may be seated. And now for our announcements this week. Happy 37th wedding anniversary to these two kids who were married on March 4th, 1989. I bet they never dreamed that they would be both past presidents of the Rotary Club of York. So congratulations to past presidents Mike and Jackie Summers. Please stand. We're going to embarrass you today. What an accomplishment. Congratulations. The Communications Committee will meet on March 10th at noon on Zoom. The Fundraising Committee will meet on March 11th at 8 o'clock on Teams. The PPE Committee will also meet on March 11th at 8 a.m. on Zoom. And now I invite Nick Beck to the podium for an update from the Membership Recruitment Committee.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. So as Wilda said, I'm Nick. I'm the vice chair of our Rotary Recruitment Committee. And this past week on Wednesday, we had what we called our all aboard community mixer. So we went down to, as you can see from the pictures here, we went down to the train, which was graciously gifted to us by our very own Ashley Zimmerman. She was going to assist me with the announcement today, but she was unable to make it. But so we went down, we used two of her train cars down in New Freedom, and aboard the train, we had many hors d'oeuvres, we had beer and wine served, along with many great conversations. The Rotary Recruitment Committee came up with a plan to kind of target and invite specific organizations. So the 5 organizations that we invited to the mixer was Leadership York. We invited the Southern York County Business Association, United Way Emerging Leader Society, York County Alumni Association, and the York Young Professionals. We originally had a goal to have around 30 attendees. We had 65 people sign up, and we had 64 in attendance. So I think that's pretty awesome. There were many great conversations and interactions shared on the train, which I think was made most evident when we pulled back into the station to end the night. Nobody wanted to disembark. Everybody was staying on the train. Now, I think that was part of the conversation, but I think that was also because Ashley made it very clear the alcohol could not leave the train. So expect many new faces to come as Rotary. We're going to invite everybody who was there as a guest. So as we always do, let's make sure they feel welcomed and excited about Rotary. But lastly, I just want to extend a big thank you to everybody else on the committee, but most especially to Jackie Summers, who's our chair. She really kind of forwarded everything here and kept us all in line. So let's give everybody a quick round of applause on the Rotary Recruitment Committee.
Well, thank you, Jackie and Nick and your committee for a great event, a great new innovative way of recruiting new members to the club. And as Nick said, you'll hopefully see those faces here in the room over the next coming weeks. And now Terry Travers has a reminder from the Youth Literacy Committee.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I am here to share a quick update on behalf of the Youth Literacy Committee. Our next Rotary Reads event will be coming up on March 18th from 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning. This past fall, we had about 52 members of our club out in York City classrooms to read with students. It was a fantastic morning and a great reminder that impact can sometimes be as simple as reading a book. So on March 18th, we are partnering with the York County Agriculture Society for Ag Literacy Week. We'll be reading Cows Can Moo, Can You by Dr. Seuss and leading a short activity in classes. So no previous experience is needed, long as you are willing to join. If you're wondering whether or not it's the right event for you, let me share a few reasons why I think you should consider signing up. First, you get to make a real difference in the life of a child. Next, you're going to be a wonderful representative of Rotary out in the community. And if you're still wondering if it's right, There's a very real chance you will get great compliments. Recently, I was reading to a group at the JCC, and a very sweet 4-year-old came up to me to tell me that I smelled really nice. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Of course, she went on to tell me, unlike grandma who smells like the cat's litter box. So I realized the bar might be set low, but a compliment is a compliment. And if still you're wondering, is it right? You might also gain some fashion advice. Last summer, I was in with a group of our campers, and a soon-to-be first-grade boy came up to me, looked me up and down, and said, "Oh, Miss Terry, you look way better when you wear heels." So if you need wardrobe advice and feedback, those students might be there for you as well. In all seriousness, if you would like to provide some smiles, encouragement, or hopefully help inspire a future Rotarian, please consider joining us. You can sign up in the QR code or the link in the weekly email. And I hope to see many of you mooing with us on March 18th. Thank you.
I will just say, if you've been at this podium, then you can certainly read to a group of children, and you're making their day. It's like the highlight of their day. They make you just feel like you're the best thing since sliced bread. So again, I say this, and I'm going to say this every time we do a Rotary Reads. If you need an ego boost, or you just need to feel better about yourself, sign up to read, because these little kids are like, you're their hero. So help make their day and help impact literacy in our city by signing up to read to some kids. And now Phil Woods has a reminder from the York Rotary Grants Committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to say I'm up here not asking for money, but asking for your help in giving money away. The Rotary Grants Committee is excited to be ahead of schedule. We were targeting March 9th as an opening date to accept LOIs for this year's grant round. And that is actually live on the website. So if you go to our website and on the left or at the top, click our impact and select York Rotary Grants, you can, as yourself representing an organization, or as you share, you can instruct others to go there and fill out that LOI. Those LOIs will be reviewed internally by our committee, and then we will offer certain organizations the opportunity to formally apply for these funds. We did not make any significant changes this year to those grants. We're going to still focus on youth in the city of York. We're also going to focus on environment. Grants are typically in the range of $2,500 to $5,000. And last year we were blessed to have some excess funds come through. So hopefully we'll be able to make some significant impact. Just so you know, as we ask you to share and spread the word that these grants are available, when we talk about youth success, it could include programs and projects helping York City residents under the age of 18 prepare for their future as successful students, leaders, and community members. It can include certain events and educational programs. And then the environment is not limited to our physical environment. The environmental grants, the applications could include anything to improve the environment in New York City to benefit its residents and visitors. And it can be physical, it can be social, and it can also be cultural. So again, we ask that you simply share this information with all of your networks. We have a great club, great connected community members. Please share so that we can get as many LOIs, ultimately receive as many applications. Even the LOIs that don't move forward to formal application and applications that aren't funded, that gives us an idea of what's going on in the community so that we can maybe link them up with other committees or consider partnering in the future. So thank you so much for sharing. Again, on the website, Our Impact, York Rotary Grants, and it's an online form. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil, and please help Phil spread the word on our grant opportunities. And now I invite past President Josh George to the podium for new member inductions.
Thank you, President Wilda, and good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Before I introduce our new members today, I actually would like to do a couple of anniversary announcements as well. We got started off with Mike and Jackie's anniversary. And Jackie, I've got to say, your hair looks as beautiful today as it always did. Mike, now that's the pot calling the kettle black, in fairness. So before you kind of aim arrows at me up here, I just want to congratulations to you guys. That's awesome. Next, I would like to recognize two of our members for being in the club for 10 years. So first, Denny Bachman. Denny, I believe you're here. If you could stand up, Denny, come on. Denny, thank you very much for joining the club back on March 9th, 10 years ago. We love to have you here, and it's great to see you today. Also celebrating a 10-year anniversary is our own president, Wilda Ream. Wilda. She joined on March 9th of 2016 as well. And look how far she's come in 10 years. That's awesome. Congratulations on being president and doing that in a 10-year period. That's really good. Some of us took a little long. Now, not to be outdone, 10 years is really impressive, right? But not to be outdone, I would next like to recognize two members of our club who have been members for 55 years. 55 years, folks. It's amazing. These two gentlemen joined the club on March 3rd of 1971. March 3rd, 1971. Hard to imagine, but it's very impressive. First, who was not able to join us in person, but I believe has joined us on Zoom, Jack Ulrich. It's very impressive to have a member of the club, 1971 through 2026. Very impressive. Let's give Jack a round of applause. And of course, past District Governor Ben Hoover. Ben, would you please stand? You guys have done an amazing amount of work. I wonder, curiously, how many meetings do you think you've been to in 55 years? It's a big number. Thank you for still being here today, Ben. It's great to have you, and I look forward to another 55 years. Let's give him a round of applause. Now, next, if I could have our new members join me up here at the stage, please, that would be great, because I would like to introduce to our club today 4 new members. And while they make their way up here, we will do this in alphabetical order, so we follow the slideshow a little bit. First, we have Amy Amato. Amy, if you could wave and say hi. Amy is a graduate of Conestoga Valley High School and went on to earn her Bachelor of Arts degree in Art History and German Language from Juniata College, and her MA in Intercultural Relations and Nonprofit Management. She is the Director of Development for the York Symphony Orchestra. In the community, she is the treasurer of the Association of Fundraising Professionals for the Central PA chapter. She is a past committee member for the Healthy York Coalition and a past board member for the PA Immigration Resource Center. Her hobbies include traveling, and she reports that she's been to not 30 states like I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, 30 countries. Wow. Impressive. She also enjoys art and visiting art museums and cooking. She is married to Tony, and she is proposed for membership. Oh, hold on before I get to that. She is also a past president at the Uptown York Rotary Club, where she served as 11-year member of the Uptown York Rotary Club. Very impressive. Look forward to 11 years here. You still have 33 to go to catch these guys. And she is proposed for membership by past District Governor Dick Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Amato. Next, we have Craig Heller. Craig, if you could wave. Craig is a graduate of Hempfield High School in Lancaster County and went on to Bloomsburg University, where he earned his bachelor's in business administration. He is the owner of 2 UPS stores here in York, the St. Charles Way location, which he's owned for several years, and then the White Street location, which is a newer acquisition for him. So he's got you covered. If you need packaging or help on shipping on either end of town, he's your man. He is in the community. He is a PTO member at the Centerville Elementary School. His hobbies include tinkering with anything mechanical, bicycling, and traveling with his family. He is married to Nicole, and they are the parents of Celia, who is 10, and Thea, who recently turned 8. And he is proposed for membership by Alice Muldrow. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Heller. Next, we have Kevin Irving. Kevin is a graduate of Seaford High School in New York and went on to SUNY Empire, where he earned his bachelor's in fine arts. He is the executive director of the York Symphony Orchestra. And he is new to York. So, ladies and gentlemen, he is looking to get involved in our community. So anybody who would have a nonprofit or other position that he could be into, Kevin, I may have just sunk your ship. I'm sorry. His hobbies include yoga, bicycling, and reading. His partner is Nicolo Fonte, and he is proposed for membership by past president Glenn Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Irving. And last but not least, Matt Marshall. Matt is a graduate of Spring Grove High School and went on to East Stroudsburg University, where he earned his bachelor's degree. He is the Chief Experience Officer for Inch & Company. What kind of experiences? Don't answer that. I'll talk to you later. His community service includes serving as a board member for the Winter Special Olympics. His hobbies include golf, playing sports, and spending time with family and friends. He is married to Alexis, and he is proposed for membership by past president Courtney Bailey. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Marshall.
Josh is a little taller than I am. Welcome to our Rotary Club new members. We are so glad to have you join us. So you're now part of a community that cares deeply about making a difference right here in York and around the world. We're excited for the energy, talents, and perspective that you bring. And I know you'll find meaningful ways to get involved and a committee or two to join. And I hope that you will build some lasting friendships along the way. So Rotarians, help us welcome our new members. All right, one more announcement from past President Brian Tate.
Thank you, President Wilda. Lynn Bergdahl and I are calling all Rotarians with talent. You heard me announce that last week, but I'm here to say it again. We are so excited to help mark Rotary Club of York's 110th anniversary, and we hope that you will join the York Rotary Anniversary Showcase and help us to celebrate that day on April 15th, 2026. We'll be celebrating at Demeester Theater at York College, and we need 12 Rotarians to perform on stage for 3 minutes or less with a presentation representing one of the decades in the past 110 years. So we need you to show us your talent, whether it be singing, dancing, presenting a poem or monologue, speed painting, as long as you can do it in 3 minutes or less and can represent a specific decade. And I want to thank Rotarian Leanne Wilson for being the first one to sign up. Thank you very much, Leanne. As of running into Rotary today, we had 3 Rotarians who signed up for a decade to present. So that's fantastic. That means we have 9 more, and I know we can do it. So I'm really excited about that. Many of you may have heard the community announcement recently about Creative York taking on management of the Belmont Theater. And I raised that because it's going to be so exciting to reopen the theater at the end of May and the end of April and beginning of May with the bar stools, the every other year presentation by the York County Bar Association. And I just want to tell you, if the president judge can perform on stage at the Belmont, we all can perform on stage at Demeester Theater to celebrate our anniversary. So watch for the announcer. There's a link there that will send you to the location where you can choose your decade and sign up with what you want to present to all of us. We hope you'll all seriously consider coming together to help us celebrate 110 years of Rotary here in York. Thanks, everybody.
Hold that spot for the late 2000s for Glenn. He's looking forward to some K-pop. So sorry, Glenn, I couldn't resist. And now Judge Euler will introduce our speaker for today.
And no, I will not be wearing a tutu this year. My barstool days are over. It's humbling to be here under circumstances that I presented back in 1995, under circumstances much comparable to Mike Flannelly, who will be speaking before us this morning. I should note that both Ben and Jack Ulrich are still mumbling at the length of time that I spent in that first speech years ago, and I don't think that Mike will be sharing that honor. It is an honor for me to introduce Mike Flannelly, who has recently been elected the President Judge of the 19th Judicial District for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That happens to be York County. So they're interchanged with regard to the nomenclature. We all replaced Judge Joseph Erb, who in 1994 achieved senior status because he aged out. He had to retire. And it was since that time that all of the president judges who have been elected thereafter, they will serve a 5-year term. Mike has joined this esteemed group, if you want to call it that, and he will be our 7th president judge of the Court of Common Pleas of York County. And he will serve as the chief administrative head and executive officer of the York County courts. Judge Flannelly brings to the role over a decade of judicial experience, as well as decades of public service and legal leadership. He was first appointed to the York County Court of Common Pleas in 2012 by the then Governor Tom Corbett and served until 2014. He was later elected to fill a 10-year term in 2015 and thereafter returned to the bench in 2016, where he has served continuously since that date. He is presently the Chief Administrative Judge of the Family Division, where he has dedicated his entire judicial career to matters involving family law, and he also presides over the county's Juvenile Wellness Court and Veterans Wellness Court. Prior to becoming a judge, Judge Flannelly served as York County Solicitor for 10 years, and subsequent to that, or before that, he was a civil litigator. He also served as president of the Herbert B. Cohen Inn Court and was recently awarded the Richard Kohler Award for Civility and Ethics, an honor that reflects his dedication to the values of integrity and collegiality in the legal profession. A graduate of Wake Forest Law School in 1982, he brings to York County a decade of judicial experience and long record of public service, and is committed to ensuring fair, timely access to justice for the people of York. Please welcome Mike Flannelly.
Thank you, John, for that surprisingly short introduction. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. It's really a humbling experience to have the same title as John, President Judge. John is in the pantheon of certainly the judges that I held in most respect when I was a practicing lawyer, right up there with Judge Casamatis and Judge Miller. So it's really, as I said, a very humbling experience to have the same title. So John, in his way, asked me, told me, however you want to describe it, to give a talk on the state of York County Court of Common Pleas. I'm supposed to be able to turn this thing on, right? All right, this always happens to me, doesn't it? All right, Cody, you gonna help me out? This is what happens when you don't practice. All right. As John said, we are the 19th Judicial District, York County Court of Common Pleas. I went from managing 4 people to 480 people in the space of one day after New Year's Eve. So that's been a real challenge and interesting thing, but it's a large organization. Just to give you a general idea of the structure of courts in Pennsylvania, at the very top, of course, is the Supreme Court. Then there's our 2 appellate courts. In Pennsylvania, we have, I advanced it, but 468 Court of Common Pleas judges. And 15 of them are in York County. So the question is, who pays for all of this? Does anybody have any bright ideas about who pays for all of this? You do, yes. Without getting overly complex about the funding structure, the state of Pennsylvania or the Commonwealth pays the salaries for the judges, our magisterial district judges, some key personnel from court administration. The rest of it is paid through the county. So counties are obligated to run a functional court system. So what does that mean? The answer is nobody knows. The bottom line is that it requires a great deal of cooperation between the court system and our commissioners. And I'm happy to say that York County has a real long history of positive relationships between our commissioners and the courts. For example, John was able to convince the commissioners to build a brand new judicial center. So you can imagine the ask behind that. But again, it's built upon that level of trust. Just to give you a general idea of the magisterial district justices, what they do, they arraign and set bail for criminal matters. They do landlord-tenant cases. They are open, basically one of them is there 24/7. They do protection from abuse cases when our court systems are closed. And as you can see from the graph there, they do a lot of traffic tickets. So I don't know if any of you have been there before, but I won't ask for a show of hands. With regards to the trial court, or basically that's us, the 15 judges who are at the Court of Common Pleas, we have several divisions. There is the criminal division, which currently has 5 judges, the family division, which has 7 judges, civil has 1, orphans court has 1, and then we have a judge who's kind of doing a mixed assignment. Half of the cases that come before the Court of Common Pleas have to do with family matters. And this covers a wide range of territory: child support, protection from abuse cases, divorce, custody, paternity cases, so on and so forth. So it's a lot, as you can see on the family side, and that's the reason why we have the majority of the judges, or at least a half of the judges, on our side. Our family section kind of is divided into 2 areas. We have 5 judges who do dependency cases. These are cases of children who've been neglected or abused, and sadly, York has more than our fair share of dependency cases. We have 2 judges handling delinquency cases. I am one of the 2 judges that handle those. Let's go to this. I wanted to talk briefly about our interpreter services. You can see from the graph here, we had 5,236 times where we were required to have an interpreter present for a hearing. We are required by law to provide an interpreter for anybody who needs access or whose English isn't sufficient to get them through the hearing. Haitian Creole is our number 2, and you can see there's 473 of those. I think I read in the paper there are 20,000 people in York County who speak Haitian Creole. The next one is Nepali. I have no clue as to why Nepali is number 3rd on the list, but there they are. The budget for our interpreter services is $715,000 a year. So you can see that is and basically, you know, I think, and John would back me up on this, this is a radical change from basically what it was when I first came on the bench or first started practicing law. With regards to jurors, how many people have served as jurors in the last 5 years? How many people have gotten out of jury duty in the last 5 years? was it Norm Macdonald said that I don't want my fate decided by 12 people who weren't smart enough to get out of jury duty. I'm not sure I'd be telling that joke when I'm asking people to show up if they get summoned. But obviously the system that we have in York County for particularly on the criminal side would not function but for people getting summoned and actually showing up. We had 3,000 jurors, actually people who were actually served on juries. We tried 79 cases to verdict. So that number may not seem like it's adding up to you, like why so many jurors, why so few cases tried to verdict? Well, what happens is, of course, is that when the criminal defendant gets into that courtroom and then there's the idea that 12 people are about to decide their fate, suddenly that offer that had been made by the Commonwealth might seem a little more generous. Another major sea change that is taking place in York County and has been taking place is the number of people who are representing themselves in litigation. When we built the Judicial Center how many years ago, the fourth floor had this large law library because back then lawyers needed books to do their research. And of course, in 5 or 10 years, now everybody's research is done at their desk with a computer. Right at the same time that that's going on, the number of people representing themselves started to balloon. There's a number of reasons behind that, but obviously the major reason is the high cost it is to litigate a case in Pennsylvania or in York County. The primary area where people are representing themselves nowadays is in custody and divorce matters. So as a judge who handles custody cases, it's not unusual at all for me to have 1 or 2 custody trials a week in which one of the parties or both of the parties are representing themselves. The other interesting thing that's coming that's a new trend is we're seeing unusually well-prepared motions and briefs from pro se people, and I'm sure probably many people can guess where that's coming from. Our friends at ChatGPT that's going to be kind of the next challenge on the horizon for judges and lawyers as we move forward. I did want to talk briefly about our court-appointed special advocate program, or CASA. CASA are basically lay people who have received some training. They are volunteers from the community. They assist children who are involved in the dependency situation. So they will interview the children, they'll be with them, they'll visit with them, they'll prepare reports for the court. They will come to court and advocate for those kids. It's a very meaningful volunteer opportunity. So if you want to get involved, go to the county website and you can find our information about our CASA program there. I had my sister-in-law retired from a pretty high-powered job last year, and she was looking for things to do up in Massachusetts. I recommended that she apply, and she's found it to be a really meaningful experience. Wellness courts. We have 5 wellness courts. Wellness courts are made up of a team of a judge, public defender, district attorney, probation officers, treatment professionals. We employ evidence-based standards created by a national organization. And these are people who their criminal behavior is mainly driven by either a drug, alcohol addiction, or mental health, or obviously some combination thereof. I have in the past was presided over Veterans Court, and now I have been since I've been a judge over the Juvenile Drug Court. So what I would recommend is if you ever get the chance, attend a graduation ceremony for the adult wellness courts. They take place 4 times a year. The next one, I believe, is on May 9th at 9:30 at the Appel Center. I've never had a person who's attended one of these that hasn't found it to be an extremely meaningful experience. What happens is the graduates cut up, they speak, and they tell their stories about, where they were and where they are now. It's really incredible. The reason why we do it, obviously, is to save lives, but there is a benefit to them from a financial standpoint. These people who are participating would otherwise more than likely be incarcerated. Now they are have jobs, they're paying child support, they're raising families, and this has a ripple effect, as you can imagine, and also obviously reduces recidivism. I'm in, as I said, in the delinquency case. Show of hands, how many people think over the last 10 years that juvenile delinquency rates are going up? If you would raise your hand. Cody, how many people think it's about the same? All right, how many people think it's going down? Yeah, all right, that's really impressive. Yeah, it has gone down significantly, 42% over the last 10 years in reduction in arrests for violent criminals activity by juveniles, which is shocking. I wish I could say I've been on the bench 10 years and I'm responsible for that, but it's due to a number of societal factors. I think from our standpoint, we have changed the way we do delinquency work so much. We are doing things in an evidence-based practice as opposed to, it's my gut feeling about this kid that we should do this. Our probation departments are highly trained and highly professionalized, and as a result, we are doing much better with kids. The kind of the bad news is for kids nowadays is that mental health issues are rapidly increasing. Kids who have experienced prolonged periods of sadness and hopelessness, high school students is up 10%. So the number at now is 42%. 53% of girls are experiencing that at the current time. So just to give you a general idea of what kids are facing out there now. As far as what's happening in York and what I'm experiencing, we are seeing fewer minor charges in front of us. Again, this is a positive development. Kids who don't need to be in the system, if you touch the system, it doesn't make them better, it makes them worse. So the fewer kids that we have in front of us, the more time we can focus on the kids with the more serious charges. As I said, gives us more time to deal with gun charges and sex offenses. I mean, that's really literally how I spend my Fridays, is dealing with those types of cases. I did want to give the commissioners a major props on the next item, which is the detention center. One of the, I guess, unintended consequences of the reduction of serious crime across Pennsylvania was all these detention centers were shutting down, which is great. But then when you have kids who commit a serious crime, they're picked up by the police, and we don't have any place to put them. And we were getting kids picked up on gun charges, serious charges, and we were basically doing catch and release. And if we caught them at a certain time, maybe we would get a GPS device on them. Now we have a detention center, which is where we can house kids while they're waiting for their hearings. And I believe York County is a much safer place as a result of that. Just kind of the key needs of the court. I'll just go over this briefly. We are, as I was talking to John Kleinditz a few minutes ago, we are encroaching on each other at the courthouse. Departments grow incrementally over time, and now we're out 20 years, and we're starting to run out of space at the judicial center. Security is going to be a major issue moving forward. You know, we just recently had a judge who received a death threat. You know, you read the papers, there is, we're becoming definitely it's more concerning events are happening all the time. This is also happening at our district justice offices. Workforce, we're having trouble retaining people on the lower end of the pay scale, and I'm sure this is something that's not new to everybody in this room. Technology, we had the same technology that we had when we in the courtrooms that we started with. It's doing really well, but our vendors tell us we're out of business and we're not servicing your technology anymore. So that's going to be a need that's going to have to be addressed short term. I want to address that one. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing, which are pretty innovative. We have the ROC, which is the Reentry Opportunity Center out at the prison. The idea here is to give people who are about to leave the prison a soft landing. So we're trying to get people hooked up with housing, jobs, medications, those types of things. And you can tell this is going to have a major impact. Chief Muldrow is apparently, in addition to his other talents, is a barber in his past, and he comes out pretty regularly and provides haircuts to our short-term prisoners who are soon to be released. This is a very involved time. Is that my time for the hook? We'll move on. Last slide, I promise you. I do want to talk about domestic violence. This is a huge problem and one that I'm going to make a focus of during my time as president judge. There are so many PFAs that are protection from abuse matters that are filed every year. A judge, duty judge this week, for example, will hear probably 30 emergency or 30 PFAs, emergency PFAs, and probably another 30 full hearings. We are in the process of trying to establish a domestic violence court, which is a court designed for people who commit crimes that are related to domestic violence. They will be monitored, I think, more closely, and we will hopefully have people who are specialists in that area providing supervision over the people who are perpetrators. So that's a kind of the mile-wide, 3-inch deep view of the York County Court of Common Pleas. So I'm told that I'm supposed to take questions. I will take questions from everybody but Al Sykes. So, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm greatly encouraged at the reduction in youth crime. And if we don't know the cause or correlation of that, is it reasonable to expect that with that pipeline in the next 10 or 15 years, there would be a reduction in adult crime?
That's a really great question. And I don't know the answer to that. Brain science tells us that there's kind of a bell curve for, kids. Their frontal lobe gets connected, usually in the mid-20s, and then they're committing crimes far, far less after that date. So why the huge reduction in juvenile crime? I think there's a lot of theories about that, but I don't know if there's a direct correlation to adult crime. I'm hoping there is, and it makes sense that there would be, but I think that's something that, the people who keep those statistics would have to look at. Yes, sir.
Has the increased use of artificial intelligence in preparing briefs for the court led to an increased need to verify the accuracy of citations? And do you worry about junk being presented that can't be verified because it takes too much time?
Well, I'm very fortunate I have a law clerk who does that stuff for me. So what's happening is that in the early stages of AI, AI is asked to produce a brief, for example, and AI will hallucinate cases. And this has happened from time to time. And honestly, I think it makes a sexier story in the media than it actually presents itself in day-to-day life. I think most of the lawyers in York County, I'm hoping this is true, lawyers in the audience here, actually do cases the old-fashioned way, which is they go to Westlaw and then they pull real cases up and cite real cases. But, the bottom line is, I think that's going to be something that we as judges are going to have to keep an eye on. But lawyers who use AI are supposed to indicate that they are using AI or they're being assisted by AI. That doesn't get them off the hook. They're required to verify each and every citation. Yeah, well.
Judge, I was going to flip the question a little bit. How is the court using AI? What are your techniques and so forth that you're using?
Well, that's kind of tied into the answer with our county IT, which is taking a very cautious approach right now. So we're part of the county internet or intranet or whatever you want to call it. And right now we're taking an extremely cautious baby steps with regards to AI. So the answer is we're not using it that much. Maybe the Westlaw AI function, but that's about it, to be honest. Yeah.
Good to have you here, Judge Flannelly.
Thank you.
I'm thinking of this particular slide here and one that you showed earlier. If I'm doing my mental math correctly, it seems like approaching 15% of the PFAs are experiencing some kind of contempt. And on the previous slide about juvenile courts, while juvenile criminality is going down, it seemed like violent crime was going up. I'm just wondering, are there trends there that you're studying, and do you have any ideas of causation?
See, I don't know that violent crime is going up. I think it's kind of holding steady. I think it's the other crimes that are decreasing. As far as the indirect, just so you know, indirect criminal contempt is person who has a protection from abuse order against them, and then they violate the order. That results in criminal charges. The 330 number's a little fuzzy because we'll have one person who has 12 indirect criminal contempts. And usually most people who get one get the notion that it's not a great idea to violate your protection from abuse order because you're subject up to 6 months incarceration and fines and costs, as well as possibility of probation. But yeah, as far as the violent crime, I think that's holding steady. I think the problem is you read the newspaper and the immediate conclusion you draw from the newspaper is that it's Wild West out there with kids. It's serious, but it's not any different than it was, I don't think, 10, 15 years ago.
This may be an ill-informed question, but you mentioned earlier that it's evidence-based versus a gut feeling.
Yes.
So do you think that has an effect on the tabulation of juvenile crime going down?
100%. So when I started, how many people saw Scared Straight, right? The Rahway State Prison where the kids go and these guys yell at them and it's supposed to terrify them into behaving correctly. Well, as it turns out, kids who went through that program did actually worse than kids who had nothing to do with that. And the reason being, they studied it is because, well, gee whiz, the kids wanted to emulate some of the worst ones. Boot camps, another, we'll get them out there, we'll get them exercising at 4:30 in the morning, and that will fix them. Kids who went through boot camp experiences ended up doing the same or not, if not worse, than kids who went through regular probation situations. So we had to learn things the hard way, but you only learn things through studying them. And that's kind of been the major shift since I've been on the bench. I will say, though, if you look across the states, across the United States, people still do the Scared Straight stuff. They still do the boot camps, regardless of the science behind it. And it's because I think it makes us feel good, that if we're putting these kids through this stuff, that would resonate with me. So why wouldn't it resonate with a 15-year-old? But, we're hopefully not thinking like 15-year-olds. So. Oh, we got one more over there.
Thank you, Judge.
Sure.
Is the York County judicial system overloaded right now? I mean, in other words, do we need more judges or less judges, or is it about right?
So, yeah, that's a great question. There is a body called the Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts, which does studies of judicial needs. So York County was found to need 16 judges. We're at 15 right now. And honestly, we can get the job done with 15. We're used to doing with 14 because that with retirements and what have you, that's typically what we do. So 14 is manageable. Last year, we were down 2 judges, and that presented a lot of difficulties, but we were allowed to use senior judges because we were down 2 judges, and that kind of filled some of the gaps. But yeah, we're busy, and that's not going to change. Oh, that was easy. Get off the stage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Judge Flannelly, for sharing your perspective on the York County court system and your priorities as president judge. We value your leadership and your commitment to addressing the challenges while building on the court's successes. As you know, our speaker has signed a bookplate to be donated to the Werner Early Learning Child Care Center, along with a bookmark made by students at Creative York. This week's book is A Squiggly Story. Next week, we will hear from Dr. Jeffrey Woodall, Associate Provost and Special Assistant to the President at York College of Pennsylvania. He will share how York College has expanded their offerings with robust programs designed to empower the local and regional workforce. These innovative programs include graduate programs, professional certificates, and life skills modules. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. We'll see you next week.